Hi, my name is Brian Manalo, and today I'll be talking about the college athletic stipends for Division I and Division II athletics. For the first time in the 2015-2016 NCAA season, scholarship student athletes received payment in the form of stipends to cover the full cost of attendance. These stipends, according to the Kansas City Star, are reported to range from $2,000 to just over $5,000 per full scholarship athlete. Both Division I and Division II student athletes will benefit with these stipends to help with their cost of living on top of their books and additional student fees. However, for FCS and Division II schools, the investment may cost these institutions more because they have to account for full athletic scholarships of all their teams. But they do not possess the additional revenue that major D1 schools have the luxury of. These schools in particular need to get creative in how they effectively raise the efficient money to accommodate all of their scholarship athletes, such as crowdfunding, additional sponsorships, and selling television rights. Back to the stipends. According to Athletic Business and the Boston, student athletes have spent those stipends on other more helpful things such as car repairs, pets such as fish, and even investing that money into mutual funds. For universities, the scholarship is worth X, and the full cost of attendance that the university publishes is Y. And there has always been that gap. It's said by BYU Associate Athletic Director Dalen Moody, who is in charge of the student athlete finances. That amount is all determined by the financial aid office. Additionally, Kansas State has put $100 million into meals for its athletes in their new training table at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. These unlimited meals and snacks were also part of the new NCAA measure, in addition to the $100 million in cost of attendance stipends. Kansas State Athletic Director John Curry said his department raised these funds through increased donations from boosters and rising conference revenue. And no jobs were sacrificed for this additional revenue. That is another thing for Division I schools, especially in the Power 5 conference. That additional conference revenue is definitely geared towards those new stipends that help aid those full cost of attendance for all of the scholarship athletes, not just the major college sports such as football and basketball. Curry also says, thanks to our contributors, we got the money to do this for those stipends, which also adds up to $2 million a year going into the pockets and stomachs of their student athletes, more than they had 2 years ago. He further goes on to say that when you talk about value and quality of experience for student athletes and a fair deal, an additional $2 million is pretty good. That represents a portion of the enhanced revenue we have from television and other places being distributed back to the student athletes. For many institutions, raising these additional funds should be done through the additional fundraising and campaigns so as to not raise other student fees for non-student athletes. These numbers should also be discussed with the financial aid offices to determine what extra funds would be needed through these campaigns. There is no doubt that these student athletes need the additional money through these stipends. The argument from some student athletes is that they feel they deserve more based on the money they've continuously earned for their respective schools, conferences, and the NCAA based on their sport. For example, Kansas basketball player said that we bring in a lot of money and there's a lot of money to be passed around out there. I was definitely happy about it, and I'm not complaining or anything, but it's a billion-dollar industry, right? When the tournament goes down and everything, I'm not complaining, but they could probably still make a couple more steps to help guys out, such as the basketball players and even football players and just all student athletes based on how much money they're bringing in. Another example is the former Clemson linebacker Dorian O'Daniel goes on to say, I know beggars can't be choosers, but it's still not enough. But I'm thankful for what I get. And being thankful is an understatement, and the fact that these student athletes are being given these stipends goes beyond leaps and bounds in terms of player compensation at this point. It is certainly a step in the right direction for giving back to the student athletes that are the workhorses of the industry and business that is the NCAA and college athletics. So for them to receive these stipends to help them out for their cost of living, books and everything on top of that is definitely helpful. And many of the student athletes are very responsive in a positive way that it's definitely helped them out. So that is my wrap up for college stipends, both in Division and Division II, and just where we are with the stipends and how these student athletes are also using them and the benefits that it's bringing them. Thank you.